Alrighty, there we go. So today we are going to be covering not the entire listing presentation. We do have a training on that one already on the dashboard. I'm going to show you guys where that is as well. But today we're going to be focusing on how to customize the Ready Real Estate listing presentation so that it's also focusing more just on you guys as the brand. That's one of our big things that we've always focused on with the brokerage and why we were able to keep 100% commission. So instead of Vaughn taking 30% from everybody and throwing up a big Ready Real Estate sign, which, no one ever calls from. Again, when clients are wanting to work with you, it's because of you as the agent. So we want to highlight a lot of those features, customize it, and make it very personal to you. So with that, we're going to go ahead and jump in. Go ahead for our screen share here. All righty. So hopefully everybody can see okay. So starting off, everybody should be very familiar with your Ready Agent dashboard. So to access the template for the listing presentation, you're going to go to your Learn tab, Learning Resources, click Open on your Documents folder, and then you're going to go down and locate the Listing Agent Resources folder. Now, again, we're going to be focusing on the actual presentation today. But if you are a newer agent, other really good trainings to take will be the listing presentation walkthrough, which covers everything from creating the presentation, what to cover and bring, how to communicate with the seller and cover pricing. We also have a full walkthrough of working with your very first listing, and then a really great itemized checklist. There's also some other great resources. So one of the things we'll be covering today is including hyperlinks for things like your quick CMAs, Cloud CMAs, seller reports, trend reports. So if you guys want additional training on that, again, we're not going to walk through those today, but those are on here as well. So when we're covering and showing the Cloud CMA, if you guys want to learn how to work with those, there's Cloud CMAs for listing presentations. Everything you guys can need as listing agent resources, it's already going to be under here. But again, we're going to focus on the actual listing presentation, how to customize it. So you're going to go to number 3, which is the Ready Agent listing presentation. When you click here, it's going to bring you to the template. You don't want to edit the template. You want to go to Use Template for New Design. And when you click on Use Template for New Design, it's going to bring up the basic filler for everything. So just where you guys can see, this will be the generic version. Now, I've already gone through and shown you guys for the update. So we'll click out of that one, and here we go. So what I recommend from here, this is going to be your homepage. So selling your home, you can put the address here. You can put the seller names here. You can put address and your name. That way you've got your branding, your name, everything right there on the front for them. The next page, we just have brief overview with company history. And one of the things that I do like to cover with the seller, because I always do listing appointments, not presentations. One of the big things I always say is no one wants to sit through a 45-minute slideshow presentation on how great you are in your past sales. What they're wanting to focus on is, what are you going to do differently than the other 3 agents that they're interviewing? What is your value proposition? So I always usually kind of start my appointment letting them know we're going to breeze through a lot of these, and then I'm going to send it to them as a PDF copy. I'm also going to have it printed so that way I find a lot of people are tactile. I want my folder on their kitchen counter staying in front of them, but I'll let them know we're going to just kind of glaze over. So if they want more information on the company, how we operate, our beginnings, they can review that afterwards. And then we've got a fun little quote. Repeat after me, real estate provides the highest returns, the greatest values, and the least risk. Now, this is going to be your personal page. So this is going to have my name. I'm a realtor. You guys can modify this. I have this just set up. If you'd like to duplicate this, leave it as it is. I'm an aggressive go-getter. Marketing a home is more than just listing it. Utilizing technology, that very much matters. But if you guys would like, you can, of course, always go to like ChatGPT, for example. If you're not familiar with utilizing AI or ChatGPT, we do have really great training on the dashboard already for utilizing AI. So you can go into AI, tell ChatGPT, I need you to work for me as a listing content creator, and I want you to create a bio highlighting my services and things about me. What do you need? And then you can actually change any of this, or you can leave it as is. The one thing I will say on this one, guys, is with the Canva Pro Edition, it gives you a lot more resources to work with. Canva is, of course, free, but I do highly recommend going with the Pro version. It's only $10 a month. It'll be the best $10 that you ever spend for helping with creating your marketing content, things like that. And there's a lot of great features. So again, I've got my picture here. When you go into your uploads, there's a really great new feature, and I'm going to just use as a quick little example one of our newer agents. If you find that your picture is a little bit blurry or not high def resolution, you can click on the picture, hit edit. There we go. And then down here at the bottom, there's something called image upscaler. So if you click on the image upscaler, it's going to say, hey, your image is already high resolution. You can still upscale it. So just to show you what it would look like, if I hit upscale, again, hers is already high resolution, but if you find yours is a little bit grainy, you want it to be a little bit more polished, you don't want to have to use filters on things, you can go to upscale image. And then this will actually give you an idea of what it looks like. So we have our before and our after. So see how it smooths it over a little bit with the lighting. So it'll polish up your pictures. Go ahead and get rid of that. But all you would have to do, again, in the box filler, you can just click and drag, and then it'll automatically populate in there for you. Let's get rid of our little thing here. There we go. Here's where you're going to be able to highlight your strengths. One of the big things, and you guys hear us talk about this on the conference call, and we've even got one of our partners on today. So your strengths as a realtor. We all may operate, yes, individually as independent contractors, but they want to see, as your client, that you're operating as a team, that you've got full force behind you. Because as you guys know, when it comes to selling real estate, it's not just between two agents. There's lenders, title partners, escrow officers, there's quite a bit. So this is where you can highlight a successful transaction takes more than just the two agents. I work with reputable partners who ensure a smooth experience. And that's when I'll go into, again, as a listing agent, why I work with Texas Title, the benefits that they provide, and then that I always try to get even on the buyer side. I'm going to verify with their lender, and then also usually offer an incentive. Hey, if you go with our partner lender like Chuck over at Neighborhood Loans, we can do like a $500 bonus incentive, things like that, because then we know we've got a reputable lender on it. They're actually going to take care of things, and we're not going to find out 1 week before closing, oh, guess what? We're not going to be able to qualify, and then your whole deal blows up. It goes into things like communication. That is one of the number one complaints that clients have when surveyed, is that they don't feel like they were updated. There was minimal communication. If you even go to Google and type "my realtor is," some of the top results are ignoring me, not responding. Communication is not great. And it typically happens also, if maybe the seller overpriced their home, which is very typical. Most sellers always think their home is worth more than it is. And when it's not selling and they're getting frustrated and they're trying to communicate, ghosting on your clients, not saying anything, that's not the best route to go. You should also, even if there hasn't been any updates as far as an offer is showing, it's good to send usually every 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how long you're on market. Here are the market updates. Here's what's been going on. Here's what's gone under contract, what's gone on market. Even if it's not like, well, hey, yeah, I've got something for your home, you should still stay in communication with them. And then my personal favorite, which is aggressive marketing. We do have growing inventory, and I'm going to show you guys what that looks like with the market trends report. And that means more buyers in the market. So being more aggressive and proactive with your marketing plan, That's key to getting maximum exposure because we don't want to just do the passive marketing. So this is showing that we are aggressive. And then you can go into highlighting your services. And again, guys, this is completely customizable. There are some agents, for example, one of our top listing producers, Breezy, she does full service 4.5% listings. So if you're even offering, like if you do it as a standard, for example, I do a flat standard, I list at 5% instead of the traditional 6. Be careful with your verbiage. I don't recommend saying, I do a discount listing. When you say that, it sounds like, like what am I paying for? What am I losing from it? So if you are doing something like that, full service listings, and then I can do, we're locked at 5%. Breezy, for example, she does 4.5% listings. She's also usually got 5 to 7 listings at a time, but she does professional photography. She also pays per professional cleaners. There's a lot of things that she'll do with her listings. So you guys can put your listing percentage here, or you can just put full service listings, highlighting that you are an expert contract knowledge and negotiation skills. Guys, if you're with Ready Real Estate, you should be paying for professional photography. Even like the only really kind of exception I have on that one is if it is like, a full Reno property, it's going to have just like a complete renovation. Everything's just kind of fallen down around it. That would be the only time I could see, using iPhone to take pictures, but particularly where our median price points have gone up so much, even at 350,000 on our 3% commissions. Remember, guys, you guys are going to be making 10,150. You don't have to go spend $500 on photographers. There are a lot of recommendations. Personally, the photographer that I use, he costs like $120. You get 45 pictures. They're professional, digitally, touched up, imaged. Everything looks really nice. So if you're with Ready Real Estate, guys, make sure you're using professional photography. They're hiring a professional. And if you've been an agent and you've been in the MLS, there's nothing more ridiculous than when you're going through, a client wants to see a home, it's a $500,000 home, and the agent took pictures with their iPhone and you can see them standing in the bathroom mirror. It's very unprofessional. And then highlighting the broker based service. This is another thing with Ready Real Estate, guys. Remember, Broker Bay is free, and it's a professional showing service that allows the seller, particularly if they are living there, to control the showing requests. So if they have a buyer request that comes through, hey, we want to see the home today at 3 p.m., they can say, yes, that's good, or nope, I actually have something going on, and then they can suggest a different time. Do not be the agent that puts under your showing instructions, text or call agent. Because that one time when you're not answering your phone, you're not available. There are a lot of buyers that, when they're hot on something, they want to get in, they want to see it. If you're not responsive, well, then they're on to the next house and then they like that one and you have completely missed out. So those are honestly bare minimum, especially when Broker Bay is free. So you need to make sure you are using a professional showing service, but also highlight to them what that means. It keeps them in control. And it also allows to see how many showings are happening, collecting feedback. Again, you're highlighting your value here. Alrighty. Now this I actually took from the Cloud CMA. So if you guys have used Cloud CMAs before, most people are very visual. So before I even jump into covering numbers, where we're at with everything, I always like to highlight intelligent pricing and timing. So, pricing a home is as much of an art as it is a science. There's some few things that never change. Fair market value, that's what attracts buyers. Overpricing does not. And what typically happens, especially if it's been a while since they've sold, people watch HGTV too much and they think it's this massive negotiating thing. So even if they're, okay at selling at 450, they go, well, let's list at 475 because then that gives us room to negotiate and go down in price and this and that. That's never a good route to go. One, you should list the home at what you want to sell it for. If you don't want to go any lower, then there's no negotiation from there. It's just, this is what I want to sell it at. And your first 2 weeks on marketing, that is when you're going to get the most traffic. That's when everything is going to, over 200 different syndicated websites. It's going to Zillow, it's going to all the portals. those first 2 weeks are crucial. And the good thing with our market, it never lies, but it can change its mind, which is where we've seen things have been changing a little bit. Rates are up, we're getting more inventory, there's more buyers. So overpricing prevents the buyers who are eligible to even look at it, because if you're 15, 25,000 overpriced, now you are moving and you're working with less of the buyer pool. So that's where I like to highlight this little graphic here, and it's going to show them, hey, I'm going to show you numbers from here. If we put the home on at its market value, you're going to be working with about 60% of the buyer pool. Even if you just go only 10% above, you've now cut that down in half to 30% of the buyers that are actually qualifiable and want to be working with the home. However, if you go even just 10% under, all of a sudden now you've jumped up to 75% of working with the buyer pool. And that's really attractive, because then you're going to be getting a lot of showings. The agents are going to be pulling those comps, seeing those numbers. Now, I'm not saying suggest marketing below the 10%. It's just going to show it's going to be a lot more attractive. It's reaching to more buyers. And then that's likely going to create multiple offer situation, because now they're saying, okay, we could possibly already have equity in the home. But the goal, again, is always going at, let's go with our market value. But this is a great little infograph that shows them, hey, if we're overpricing, all of a sudden we are really cutting out. So if you're wondering, well, hey, where do I get these numbers? How do I know if they're 30% overpriced or 10% overpriced? That's where you are now going to be able to jump into your numbers. And this is where I like to spend the majority of my time discussing with the sellers and educating. So what I like with our new listing presentation, instead of having to now pull up 15 different tabs and we're on my laptop and we're reviewing, I've got printout copies of it, but I'm going to send this to them as a digital copy. So it's also going to allow them to review everything. Now you will change this. Don't put your hyperlink here. Put 2577 Old Buck Quick CMA. These are all set with your hyperlinks. If you're not familiar with a hyperlink, what you'll do, and I went through and made one. So I got on the MLS, I used a subject property, and I created a quick CMA, because I want to use the quick CMA and then also the Cloud CMA with my listing presentation. The quick CMA I'm going to be using just for the raw data set, just covering on basic numbers. So here we have, just in the immediate area, there are 7 active listings. It's also going to show our days on market. But what we want to focus on are the closed. I have heard some agents where they don't like to put active properties, and they go, well, active properties don't really matter. It's not going to affect the comps. I like being able to show the sellers where they're at, and this is how long they've been sitting. So even by putting at, 3.2s, if they're a little bit higher on their square footage, price per square foot, everything is going to start sitting. So it's also showing, well, if you're wanting to list at 335 and you're also a 3.2 with 1,600 square feet, everything seems to be sitting from there. Nothing is really moving. But there are, of course, a few outside little factors to that. We are moving into the holiday season. Rates pop back up. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck, I think we're around like 6.99 right now. So that does affect a little bit of the market, but that's why we want to go back 6 months. So here's where we're going to be able to see, here's everything that's closed, sticking with our very similar comps, 3.2s, similar square footage. And this is where you can see the ones that were appropriately priced, they moved relatively pretty quickly. So that's where you want to then focus on your median. Always go with the median numbers. Those are a more accurate representation of the data set. So it is showing there's a median list price of about 320, but it's coming in and selling at about 306,250. And then you can use the median price per sold square foot, multiply that by the square footage, and that'll usually typically give you a pretty spot on where that fair market value is going to be. So we can see here, everyone listed on the higher side. So 2 years ago, 3 years ago during the boom, the sale versus list price, these were all like 105%, 110%. And that was when everyone was paying cash out of pocket. They were doing appraisal waivers. But these numbers, even though the market is regulated a little bit, selling anywhere from 92 to 97% of your list price, 99%, that is still really solid. So these are the numbers that you're going to cover. Of course, you're always going to ask if they have a price in mind, but this is where you can now educate. Instead of saying, no, you're too high, you need to list here, you can show them historically what the market data is telling us. For the last 6 months, homes comparable to yours, they are selling around the actual 306 price point. But that's where I like utilizing the price per square foot and then multiplying by the square footage. It is usually pretty spot on. So this will have a hyperlink. So instead of having to bounce back and forth between tabs, sending them multiple PDFs in an email, they can simply click here and that will automatically pull up your quick CMA. Then you're also going to want to have your Cloud CMA. Cloud CMAs, guys, those are really good for sellers. I never use Cloud CMAs for buyers. Those don't matter. We're wanting to actually see the raw data set when we're helping to put together an offer. The Cloud CMAs are great for sellers. Again, you can click here and it's going to take them to their live version. And sellers really like this because this is a very polished presentation. So it's going to show, hey, I've basically created an interactive website for you that's going to ask and answer all of your questions. So it'll have everything from your agent resume. And again, if you guys have not worked with Cloud CMA before, there is a training on the dashboard for it. It covers what a CMA is, average pricing, comps, time to sell on market. There's that intelligent pricing and timing, your marketing plan. Everything is already set up in here for them with nice little widgets. But what I like to cover with them, especially if they're overpriced, why I like the Cloud CMA is they can go through and we can actually see the differences in price versus our target home that we're working with and the differences. Now, let me see. I'm sorry, I got this little guy in my way. There we go. So here is our subject property. We're a 3.2, 1,600 square feet. And this is where you can edit your property details. So if I want to have, I've got 2 garage spaces and I know my lot size is 0.176. There we go. Now we can update. And this is what's going to be able to show them because they may be going, well, my neighbor sold at 340. Well, the neighbor may have just put in, all new hardwood flooring. They may have updated with like granite countertops. They may have done landscaping. So that's where a lot of sellers don't see. They just look on Zillow or their neighbor told them. So this is going to show them, hey, from where we're listed at, one that sold similarly, it had 13% more square feet, it was a little bit larger lot size. Our garage spaces where the original list price sold, or the original price, and then where it actually sold, and then our price per square footage. So this is going to cover more in depth where they can actually see, and I've actually got my lot size incorrect here. We need to do like the total square footage for it, but it's going to show again differences in square footage, bedrooms and bathroom count, days on market. And as they're going through, then they can see all the other also active properties, how long they've been sitting, their prices per square foot. So this gives them a lot more accurate view. And then they can actually go, so here, this one is our closest to us. That's our actual listing. So if we're looking at this one, we can click on it. And this is where we're able to go through and they can also see pictures. So instead of having to say something along the lines of, okay, well, your home isn't updated like this person, or they have these features, your home isn't as good. We never want to say that, but we can go through and see something very similar. We'll use Jody Drive for an example. That one sold at 305. And we can go through and actually click and look at pictures. And from here, this looks like we had Formica countertops, but it does have hardwood throughout. So they can see the difference and go, okay, well, that one was at 305, really similar square footage. However, we have granite or we have an expanded larger back patio. So this is something that is good to cover, particularly if the sellers are overpriced and not realizing that their home may be not as updated or upgraded, but that's where you can go through and let them know, hey, you can take time and you can peruse and actually go through. The other thing that you can do, I did not do it on this one, but you can also include the seller's estimated net sheet on here, and that's going to be under your suggested list price. So we're currently at 320, and this is where you're going to get those differences. So the average price is about three for all. We're about 3% above and 7% above the average square foot. For sold, for the comparable properties, it's showing we're at about 6% above. And then we are about 11% over on the actual sold price per square foot. And then if we're looking at active, it's going to show we're about 1% below where most are and 3% above where the average square footage is. These are the good numbers to focus on. I have had sellers that have gone through and I can pull this and it's like, hey, you're 15% above. That's where that intelligent pricing and timing is going to come into play because you'll be able to show, hey, we are actually 10% above. So now we're cutting our buyer pool in half. So the big thing on that one is to always remember, rely on the numbers, not this is just what I think. So this is a really useful tool. That is why I absolutely love working with the Cloud CMAs. This is where I want to spend a lot of the time focusing on those numbers. But when you're under your suggested list price, when you're editing under your CMA, you'll have the ability to add the seller estimated proceeds sheet. So if I want to go to, let's see here, customize, for example, we'll go back. And that's the nice thing is once these are created, you can always edit. Listings, criteria. There we go. So when you're first originally pulling your comps under subject property, again, we're listed at 320. If you click down on net sheet and notes, and you can get the same information, that's why I love the Texas Title I app, guys, is you can pull open, and if you don't have it, I highly recommend it, but we'll do a quick little example. If I go to Texas Title I, I'm going to do expense names. So we are going to do brokerage commissions. So if we are charging 6% at a 320 sales price, I can put here 19,200. Then I'll add an expense under title, escrow, and closing fees. Again, guys, if you're not familiar with the Texas Title I app, make sure you download it. It is fantastic. So I can actually go look up because typically now in our market, again, sellers are usually the ones that are paying for the title policy. So you can use your Texas Title I app, and it will give you the entire closing costs. So I will look at, say, owner's title policy, and it automatically calculates it and shows that's going to be $1991.40. Then you can do like a home warranty. Then you can include attorneys, doc prep fees. So all of the, if you're like not sure where to get the net sheet expenses, you can pull those from the zip forms, or you can pull the information from the Texas Title I app. But this is where you can put all of the closing costs. Maybe they have a, loan payoff, for example. Say they still owe 200,000. So from here, we're going to go ahead and customize, and then we'll publish. You can also download this as a PDF and include that. But now when we go to the suggested list price, our net sheet pops up. So you can put all of those on there. I include both net sheets, in the listing agreement and having it printed out, the one from Zip Forms. But this is a great place to be able to actually, for them to see in front of them. So that's just a quick little overview for your Cloud CMA. So you'll have your hyperlink there. And you'll get that link. You don't have to upload it to like a shareable Dropbox, anything like that. You'll just get copy live link. Then you're going to include your trends report. Again, we're not going to do a full trends report training. That is on your dashboard through RPR. And the trends report is going to be different than the seller's report. The seller's report is essentially everything that we just covered, from quick CMA, Cloud CMAs, everything with market activity. That's going to be your final like coup de grace. So I did Weatherford. Here's our zip code. And I've got our market trends. So they're going to be able to see we are moving from balanced market closer to buyer's market. So we have something called the absorption rate. The absorption rate essentially means for every home that is currently on the market right now, if no new homes came on the market, if it took 6 months or under to sell, you're typically in a seller's market, or about 5 months or under. Once you hit around 6 months, you become a little bit more balanced. Anything where they're sitting longer than that, it's leaning towards a buyer's market. So it's showing, again, that's kind of our absorption rate. So we're about 6.61. So we're moving towards those buyers. Our list to sold price is up, which is good. Median days on market is down. And then we've got our median sold price. But again, that is just for the overall zip code. It'll also go through median estimated property values. And again, you don't want to spend too much time on this in the listing presentation. You can touch on it briefly so that they have time to peruse and go through, see if they have any questions on it. Typically going within 1 year, active listings, new pending listings, our sold listings, we're able to see our median is still going up, how much volume is being done. There's our inventory supply. So in 1 year, still a little bit lower. And then what you can do from here, which is one of my favorite things. Again, we do have a training on this for the RPR AI script writer. What you can do is hit create script. And you're wanting to focus with your seller. And you can do a couple of things. You can create a video script and then use CapCut to make a video to then also embed and include in your listing presentation. Or we can just go to analyze metrics. And what you'll do is you'll just copy this text, and after your listing presentation, you're of course going to send them all of the information, or even before, you can include this in the email with it that's going to have an analyze metric for the market trends of what's going on in their zip code. And it saves you a ton of time. And then the last resource you're going to have is your RPR Seller Report. Again, pretty much that has everything that we just talked about that's included. When you are on, let's see here. We just did that one. Let's go ahead and click it. Now, RPR does not have a live link to be able to share. Same with your quick CMAs. So in order to do that, you're going to need to save those as PDFs into a cloud system. So whether it's Dropbox, OneDrive, anything that you're going to use, you're going to create the cloud hyperlink so that it's shareable. And this is going to be their seller's report. So they can go through. It's going to show list price, current estimated values, where comps are coming in at, all the property information about their home, property photos, and then it's going to give them everything from their property history, the trends on listings, distressed, assessed values, market values, AVMs and RVMs. And this is, again, a lot of jargon for them, guys. So you don't want to sit here and go through every single page. It's just showing your market activity, listing prices versus sales prices and how long they're on market, price adjustments, market health. Putting these together, guys, if you do all four of these, you are doing more than 95% of agents who come in and just say, I'm going to do open houses. Here's a comp sheet. Here's what we should list at. Listing inventories. So you can touch on these pretty briefly and let them know you can go through. If they want to go a little bit more in depth, that's absolutely okay. And if they want to kind of peruse on their own time and then have any additional questions, creates a great opportunity for, again, being able to follow up. Median days on market. And then this is the quick version from that Cloud CMA. So here's our subject property and where everything closed, how far away it is. What I like with using the RPR report, when you do the comps for the quick CMA and the Cloud CMA on the MLS, there isn't a way of doing public sold data. What's nice with RPR is I was able to find additional comps from public sold data that wasn't necessarily put on with like the MLS. So it gave me a couple additional comp options to be able to work with. So this is where it goes, again, more in depth into each of the similar comps, what it actually sold at, all of their details, time on market. So it can be pretty extensive. It's a long report. That's why you don't want to sit there and just keep going through each one, but it's an excellent additional resource. So when you combine that quick CMA, that's where you're going to want to spend most of your time. Again, covering the numbers. Here's our raw data set. This is what the market is showing us for homes comparable to yours and what has sold over the last 6 months. And then you'll be able to show them, hey, I'm going to do the Cloud CMA, do your quick walkthrough, focusing on intelligent pricing and timing, the net sheet. And if they are overpriced or not really seeing that their home is maybe not up to date as others, you can walk them through there, explain their trends report and the RPR, and they can go through that at their own pace. Then you can go through with your marketing strategy, social media campaigns, syndicated websites, mailers and prospecting. And if you're going, well, how am I going to do mailers? There is a training, same thing on your dashboard, guys. If you go to the search bar and just hit creating mailing labels for sphere mailouts and prospecting, there is a way and you can educate them. I'm going to be doing mailers and phases and marketing as we're going through. And you can do that with RPR. Again, it's going to walk you all the way through. But for your marketing content, and this is a huge benefit of partnering with Neighborhood Loans, is you guys get access to list reports. And I use this as part of the listing presentation, is I want to focus on, hey, here's what I'm doing with your home. I'm going to create single property interactive websites. All of this is already done for you. So when you're doing your open houses, when you need to have your flyers, anything that you're doing there, guys, these are way better than just printing out the MLS sheet. And if you guys haven't gotten set up with list reports, make sure that you get with Chuck. He'll get you set up for it. We have a training on list reports, setting up branding, custom text to sell lead codes and QR codes. Very simple system to use, honestly. But this is how you'll do your mailer campaigns. And this is something that you can explain with it, is that you're going to do aggressive marketing. But guys, it has to be consistent. If you live in a neighborhood, if anybody owns a home, have you ever gotten something in the mail where it says, just sold, we sold your neighbor's home for $350? It just goes in the trash. Typically what we see is when one home goes on market, within 60 to 90 days, 2 to 3 more are going to go on market. Question is going to be, are you going to be the agent that gets that listing? So you should be sending these mailers at each phase. Coming soon, just listed, when you do an open house, when you go under contract, and just sold. And you can do that for very inexpensive when you print it out, whether it's through like Vistaprint if you order them, or if you go to like Office Depot, whatever it may be, you can send these out and it's going to go to everybody in the neighborhood. By using the RPR neighborhood trends, you can pull all of the mailing labels, have it downloaded, and then literally stick a stamp on it and you're done. That is going to save you a lot more money than paying a company $3,000 a year to send out a flyer once a month that people are going to throw in the trash. But it has to be consistent through each of the phases. If you guys do this, I promise you that is more than 95% of all listing agents and what they are doing, not only to sell the home, but to generate other listings within that neighborhood. As well as, again, like your sign-in sheets, but use this as a benefit to show your sellers. Hey, I'm also going to, again, I'm going to create a custom interactive website. Guys, you don't have to be a tech genius. You're not going to. This system creates it for you. And that's where I highlight it's going to have text to cell lead code app capture and then the explore the area. This is kind of everybody's little favorite feature because it lets them know schools, ratings, how far, major convenience items, outdoor activities, restaurants. It looks like you've just done this giant marketing thing for them, and it has been all put together for you. So lean pretty heavily on your list reports. It is going to be a great resource, and you're not having to pay a company $400 to make a website for you. And you can include, if you'd like, you can have this already pulled up, or you can add an additional section. If you've had a previous listing, then you can, same thing, create hyperlinks from here. So if you're under your marketing strategy, mailer campaigns, you can add a second page and put single property websites, flyers and mailers, and then just create hyperlinks so that you can click and go to each one so that they get a quick little preview. Alrighty, and then this is where you'll put reviews from clients. If you're a brand new agent, then and you haven't had any reviews, that's okay. You can also just email the office manager, Andrea, and you can do reviews just for the brokerage in general. There have been, clients that have been like, Ready Real Estate is great. You can skip this page, but if you do have reviews from clients, this is where you can put in, if they have like a picture and a little blurb about what their review was for you. Or you can put hyperlinks to it. Again, typically when I ask for reviews, I drive everybody to Zillow. It's the number one, user consumer platform. So I want all of my reviews on there. So I would do either a generic picture, a brief little blurb, or a hyperlink that's going to take them over to Zillow. And then you'll go ahead and do your contact details. It's completely up to you guys. Just as a little update, we did just move. We have a brand new, absolutely gorgeous office in Dallas. They've completely renovated the 8080 building. It is incredible. We're really excited about that one. We'll probably be doing a training there here in a little bit coming up just to get everybody comfortable with the office and see the new space. So we are going to be updating all of the contracts and our boards and getting all of those going. If you don't want to have the Dallas address, I know sometimes maybe like the Parker County agents or Wise County agents, they're like, oh, I don't want them to think I'm far away. You can, of course, always use the Fort Worth address as well. Put your email and your phone number. And then you're going to put your hyperlinks to your social media. You can also, again, add Zillow on here if you'd like. Have the links ready to go for your social media. And then your closeout page. It is that simple. So from there, everything is already set up. It is just a plug and play. Biggest things you'll have to change are going to be your photo, or if you'd like to change a little bit about your bio. If you offer additional services, again, like professional cleaning or staging, but you're going to be focusing most of your time with the intelligent pricing and timing, and then focusing on, again, the data. This is what they're going to be wanting to spend most of your time with, and then what you're going to be doing for marketing. So highlighting all of those features. If you are operating with like a team name or assumed name, you have your own logos, color schemes, branding. Guys, that's absolutely okay. You can do the same thing and modify. When you go through here, and this is just a quick little Canva training trick for you, when you have your pro account, again, most of us like operating as Ready Real Estate and having all of it already set up, but you'll create your brand, and that's where you'll put your color schemes. So, we've got an agent in Austin, for example. She operates under what she calls Dwellverse Team. So she has her own logos and colors. All you have to do is upload your color scheme here and your logo. And then when you are in your design, go to styles, and it'll have your brand kit. So you can automatically hit your brand kit colors and it will adjust the entire thing. So now it's going to change and give you different options. So if you're wanting to use your own color scheme, again, just remember, you guys, you have to have the verbiage on there, like powered by Ready Real Estate or brokered by Ready Real Estate somewhere, but you can do your own logo. You can do your own color schemes. It makes it very easy once you have your brand kit set up. And again, makes it even more customized specifically to you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop our share there. Does anybody have any questions? Man, too easy for you guys today. I love it. If you guys aren't on list reports, make sure that you get with Chuck. You are missing out on like one of the greatest resources. I'm a big fan of it. So with that, we've got all of this recorded. It's going to be up here on your dashboard for you guys. We are also going to be doing some additional training that's going to be coming up. It's going to be a little bit busier for December and going into January. Are going to be focusing a lot on like listing lead generation, actually going through the listing presentation itself. And we've had a couple agents that have reached out with some different resources, which I love when that happens because we pretty much have a training on everything, but every once in a while we'll get a new technology or a new resource. And when that happens, we always want to have a training for it. So we'll go ahead and stop it there. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Shoot Vaughn a Voxer. He's always happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great day.